New VR games. Well, it's that time of the week again where we get to talk about the new games that came out this week, the new games that are coming out next week, and of course that juicy VR gaming news. And let me tell you, it has been one heck of a week. So I'm excited to talk about it. But before we dive into that, I want to thank today's channel sponsor, Alien Rogue Incursion. This is a brand new original story, single player action horror VR game that is designed by Alien fans for Alien fans. This will be coming out this holiday season in 2024. That means this year. It's going to be coming to PSVR 2, Quest 3, and of course Steam VR. You can actually add this to your wish list on the PlayStation Store as of right now. And if you'd like more information and to stay up to date with all new information, then sign up to their newsletter with the link down below in the description and the pinned comment. I've also included a link to the trailer down there so that you can check it out for yourself. Honestly, I'm super excited for this one, and a massive thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Now let's dive into those VR games that came out this week. New VR games this week. Finally, we have FNAF Help Wanted 2 drop on the Quest store, and this has been a good moment because it came out on Steam and PSVR 2 a little while ago, and now we finally have it on the Quest. So if you've been waiting for this game, well, it kind of dropped out of nowhere, which is a good thing, and it also is now officially there. This game is pretty damn cool. I have played it on the PSVR 2 and I enjoyed myself. I haven't had a chance to jump into it on Quest yet, so I'm intrigued to see whether it's optimized and sort of like well done on the Quest, mainly from a graphical standpoint, but I'm interested nonetheless to check this out. I will do like a mini review in next week's video if you're interested in that, so stick around for next week and then I'll be able to do a mini review on that. If any of you have played it so far, can you let people know in the comments down below whether this is good or bad? It's important that we share this information because it does save some people some monies and, well, just time invested into it in the first place. If you're interested in learning a bit more about Help Wanted 2 though, this is a game of mini games. There is a ton of mini games and of course some deep rooted FNAF lore going throughout this game, which makes it just a fun experience as always with all the FNAF games in the franchise. Last week we had a game called Zengrants come out, and a bunch of you asked me in the comments that, can you talk about this game? Can you review this game? Can you talk about this game? So today we're going to be doing those things, mainly because of the fact that not a lot of people have been talking about this on the internet, and there seems to be a bit of an interest going around this game. Now this game is very much in the vein of like a pistol whip type experience, but with a very different vibe going on. This one of course is all about finding your zen, and the way that you do that is there's like a breathing exercise thing that you can do within the lobby, which is actually quite fun, to be honest with you. I quite like doing breathing exercises, so this for me was kind of interesting to be able to do it within the game. It's a little bit lackluster to do the breathing exercises, just a bit underwhelming, although you do earn like achievements as you go through it and stuff. It felt like I could have had a little bit more going on, it would have been more exciting. The pistol whip experience is quite an interesting one, so it works in the same way that you would expect pistol whip to work. You know, you're going along, your enemies appear, you shoot them, but the way that you reveal the enemies in this one is by controlling your breathing. So you have to breathe in and breathe out, but you have to use like a hum technique with this, so you breathe in and then out, and when you do that, then you will send off like this little orb and it reveals where the enemies are, and sort of the task within the task is to reveal where all the enemies are and then kill them. So not very zen-like when you look at it like that, but nonetheless this one's good. It's also pretty good for anyone who's got like anxiety or anything, or just really stress issues. It's kind of nice to get in there and actually focus on those breathing exercises whilst doing something fun. So all in all, I think this is a very cool game, bit unique to a unique subset of group of people. So if you were interested in this, I've been showing gameplay the entire time. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. If it's for you, pick it up. Next up, I wanted to talk about Astra. This is a mixed reality experience that came out at the very end of last week, and I wanted to talk about it because I actually dived into this myself to experience this and kind of get my head around whether this was a good experience or not a great one. And honestly, sadly, I came away from this feeling two things. First and foremost, it's a very, well, it entirely relies on hand tracking to play this game, which is a cool thing. It's a very slow-paced game. It's a very pretty one, but there's also some things that are missing, like quality of life moments. When you're actually in the mixed reality experience, there's this thing called a portal that will appear, and to be able to go through said portal, well, it proved to be nigh on impossible, as it kept appearing outside of my room. No matter how many times I recalibrated the room, it just kept appearing on the other side of a wall, which is not ideal, to be honest with you, which kind of stopped me being able to play most of the experience. But on top of that, the parts that I did play, whilst actually pretty damn stunning, it's just a very, very slow burn story. So if you're more intrigued in seeing what planets look like when you're on top of them and in them and around them, then this might be for you. Personally, this one was a little bit lost on me, as it's just a bit lackluster in the experience. VR news this week. The VR news this week is that Wanderer is getting a delay again, sadly, but this isn't necessarily a negative thing. Now, Wanderer is now going to be set to be coming out in September 12th, so towards the end of this year, as it was supposed to be slated to be coming out sort of pretty much next month, I believe. Honestly, I don't mind this happening. I know it kind of sucks for everyone who's looking forward to this, but it does mean that they're trying to work on their product to be the best it can possibly be. So by the end of this, we're going to have a product that is freaking solid and good, and that's really the main objective out of any of these types of experiences, because there's nothing worse than getting a game that's full of bugs and slightly broken. So for me, I completely understand this move from them, and I respect it because I would rather a better product at the end of it. And the other piece of news that we got this week as well is that what if the Marvel series is coming out with a full hour-long experience that can be experienced on the Apple Vision Pro. I'm so bummed out that this is only coming to the Apple Vision Pro. I really don't know why they're not bringing these types of experiences over to like the mass populated headsets like the Quest. But sadly, they're not, which is honestly a pretty big bummer. I'm hoping that eventually we'll see some of these things come across. Like, it's just a shame that they're sort of locking over like the Disney Plus cool stuff that they have going in there with the nice environments, and obviously with this now we're not getting this experience either, which kind of sucks. I mean, very cool for Apple Vision Pro users, and honestly the experience itself looks pretty insane, and an hour-long experience of that within like being in an episode, I think that's pretty damn unique as well. I would love to try this at some point. But yeah, I don't own an Apple Vision Pro. Although I've tried one, I don't own one, so I shall not be trying this one. But for all you Apple Vision Pro users out there, well, now you know it's coming. Coming out next week. Well, we'll be kicking this off with Stride Fates finally making its way to the PSVR 2 and Steam. So that means you PCVR players are going to get to experience this in all of its glory, and of course you PSVR 2 players are finally going to get a cool game coming your way. Honestly, this is a pretty fun game. Know what you're getting into though when you buy this game as well. Sadly, it does have pretty bad acting in this game, like bad voice acting, but the game itself is pretty solid. If you're really looking for something where you're going to feel that motion and movement of parkour, then this is going to do that job for you. There are some moments that are a little lackluster in this, like kind of empty unused space a lot of the time, but overall I would say this game is a pretty decent game. It's kind of fun, and it just sort of really fuels that fire if you're looking to do some parkour and have some fun with it. So definitely one I recommend, but maybe check out some gameplay and some reviews of the game, and then you can make your choice, as of course on PlayStation VR 2 you are not going to be able to get a refund, so this is a buy it and I hope you love it kind of situation. So definitely check out some reviews first. I will be talking about this next week, so keep your eyes peeled on the channel. We also are getting Masters of Light drop next week. This one I'm kind of intrigued by. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to try this for myself. It is an entirely hand-controlled game where they're kind of going to make you feel like Doctor Strange. You're going to be casting some cool old spells when it comes to blasting some light out of your hands, and of course playing a very fun-looking story-based game. Now, I'm intrigued by this as well because it's entirely controlled by hand tracking, and we've had a few games come out like this that have tend to do quite well. So like Rogue Ascent and stuff like that has been a very good example of how you can definitely play an entire game with just hand tracking. So I'm excited to try this one out for myself. It's dropping next week. Keep your eyes peeled. Ultimate Swing Golf. Now, as I said before when I talked about this game, this is one of those games that, strange enough, people really frigging love golf in VR. So fair play to everyone who enjoys that stuff. I'm not the massive fan of this unless it's Walkabout Mini Golf, because I just love that game. But I definitely want to try this because if it might vibe with me, if I actually give it a go. More often than not with games like this, when you actually try them is when you realise that actually it's a pretty badass game. So I like to try everything, and let me know what you guys are thinking down below though. Are you excited for this type of game, or is this just not your vibe? And last but not least, some assembly required. This is a very cute looking game where you're going to get in and be building tiny little machines to be able to do tasks. So it's quite a fun sort of a take on this whole sort of genre of gaming, where you're going to be helping out the humans do sort of like mediocre tasks like push a candle over, deliver dinner, but you're going to have to build a robot that will actually achieve that. So it's actually in your assembly of these robots which will make it fun for you and entertaining. I can imagine this is one of those games that's going to do incredibly well on something like TikTok, so for any of you creators out there, I would line up to get in this game because it's probably going to do quite well. But nonetheless, this does look like a very interesting title. I'm kind of interested to try this for myself, so I'm looking forward to jumping in and trying it out, and then I can talk to you guys about it next week. Well, that is going to do us for this week's video. You know, after the last week where we had like Aliens and friggin' Batman being announced, it seems like quite a week this week, even though we've had so much going on. But let me know what you're going to be playing in the comments down below over this weekend, because I'm always intrigued by that. It might even sway me to jump in and retry something. So I'd love to hear that in the comments down below. Other than that, thank you so much for supporting these videos. It means the world to me. And thank you to our sponsor today, Aliens. Make sure you go check out that game. All the links in the description and the pinned comment down below. Other than that, have a great weekend, take care, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.